Hey, what's going on, guys? Battle Nation Zimper here, back today with another video. Today, guys, we're doing a lore recap. We've done a few of these in the past, but also going to try to bring this into a brand new series, make this something a bit more finite for some of the lesser known things. Like, of course, today we're discussing the Ancients. Also have one of these made for the Civil Wolves. Basically, just every single faction of the game, because each one has an incredible amount of lore. Today we're looking at a pretty good one to start off a new series on this. We're looking at the Ancients, or more specifically, the Ancient Civilization. I'm going to go ahead and throw it up. Of course, that's a mob they have that we'll be discussing later on in this video because that's a boss fight. But this is what their wiki entry looks like on Battle Nation's wiki as it reads out. I'll go ahead and read the overview. The Ancients were people who possessed extremely advanced knowledge in technology and how to wield it, constructing buildings and deadly defenses that still remain operational half a millennia after the Ancients themselves died out. So this is a basically ancient builder type scenario. These guys are super old, at least 1,000 years old, and probably much older than that. Probably had something to do with the dinosaurs, and they constructed beyond massively impressive technology. They made the ancient sentinel, they made extremely advanced weapons, they made extremely advanced buildings, and we can see just a few of their remnants. And we'll go ahead and jump into the very first one that we see, and it's a boss, and it of course is this bad boy right here, the Ancient Construction. Now, a very interesting fact about this bad boy. First off, when does he spawn? He spawns roughly every week, every 7 days after you hit level 24 and up, and you do the required mission, Scouting the Frontier. This is basically where you're just introduced to the guy. Again, this is what he looks like. He is immune to explosive, freeze, shatter, and stun. He is extremely strong. And we'll go into a little bit of his lore. Not too terribly much, but a little bit. And don't worry, there isn't much to lore about this guy. So not really, I'm trying to think, there's not much you can spoil besides the one fact of what he is. And I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. He turns out he is a garbage disposer. Yes, this bad boy right here, for as bad as he looks, all he is he's a garbage disposer. So that's what he does. In fact, it's said right there in the rank and tile, garbage cleaner. So, and that's not a lie. It's just exactly what he was there for. The reason he attacks us, the player, is because we accidentally activate his defense mechanism. Of course, after killing him, you get into the next boss, which we'll discuss in a second. But again, just a little bit more about this guy. He's a big baddie. Once you take care of him, he does respawn multiple times. Despite being probably the biggest and baddest monster you'll have for a while, he does offer a good payout. This is his reward pool. And already, the 20 gears is nice, the gold is nice, but the biggest thing there by far that you're going to notice that he gives out is the Dexter fragment at a 5%, and then an even rare Sinister fragment at a 1%. It's absolutely massive. Don't get me wrong, the gears, the widgets, and the loras, those are beautiful too, and all guaranteed along with, a payday of 16,000 gold. The biggest thing is the chance at either a Dexter fragment or Sinister fragment. Either one of them is just a perfect trophy right now in the game, and shows, you've been this guy a handful of times. Really gives me a Terraria type vibe to Battle Nations. I mean that in the most complimentary way. I love both games. So the fact that you can have something you can farm for and get extremely lucky if you get it truly does add a little bit of character to this guy. This is probably one of the first big bosses. Of course, you fight multiple raider bosses before that, but they don't really leave much of a lasting impression, while Ancient Construction certainly does. And as I alluded to earlier, once you take care of him, you go right into the next boss, which is this bad boy right here, the Ancient Sentinel. This guy's a beast in and of itself. He spawns above level 50 after you've done the required mission in Ancient Doom, and he takes 3 to 8 days to respawn, so he takes even longer than the Ancient Construction. And we'll go ahead and read his overview as well. It reads, the Ancient Sentinel is a recurring mega boss introduced in the 2.85 patch for players who have defeated the Ancient Construction and are level 50 or above. It appears in the ancient ruins after a brief dialogue between the characters. Yeah, he is a bad dog, even more so because, as you can see in his rank and tile, he is a security bot. Unlike the Ancient Construction, he was built for force. He was built to fight. and it is definitely seen in the fact that he is much, much harder than the Ancient Construction, one of the hardest bosses in all of Battle Nations, and again, just an absolute beast. This is his reward pool, and as you can see, it is a beautiful payout as well. Anywhere from 10,000 to 25,000 gold, 20 to 35 gears, 25 to 30 bars, 2 to 5 widgets, 2 to 5 lures, a 75% chance of anywhere between 10 to 25 chemical vials, and then the trophy hunts. The 2% chance at a melee fragment and a 2% chance at a ranged fragment. So total a 4% chance of getting one of his fragments as opposed to a 6% chance of getting one of the fragments from the Ancient Construction. So either way, rare, but even for this guy, even rarer. And yeah, I mean, genuinely one of the best, most memorable bosses in all of Battle Nations. Honestly, I'd say probably the best boss in campaign, unless you want to, throw gripes about the Spider Wasp boss, because, I know a lot of people like that. I think it was fine and all. I just think it came too late into the game for a lot of players to truly appreciate and grow up with. But if you're one of those people, perfectly fine. Of course, if you remember a boss, from this video, or just have your own personal Battle Nations boss you remember, comment down below, or heck, even a new boss you would like to see. Let me know in the comments down below. We'd love to get a conversation started down there. But as for the Ancient Sentinel, again, just a pretty hard unit, mean that in the most respectful way. And the only other thing I can think to comment about this guy is this is just his attack patterns. I remember them being so unique. Well, one of them just a 4-round shot. I mean, that's not unique. That's just, pretty overpowered. But after that, his lightning strike, this is the one he does with his eye attack. Extremely unique attack formation, but my goodness, does it work out in his favor. Then we got some concept art. Of course, this is what he looks like once separated. And again, just a really, really cool boss strike. Not even a boss strike unit. Speaking, though, I am glad I said that. The Ancients do have a boss strike connected to them. It's boss strike 10. And this boss strike, while being, in my opinion, one of the best boss strikes, heck, I think you can mark boss strikes 1 as 10 as the OG boss strikes because all of them had a lot of character and passion to them. But boss strike 10 especially brought in the Ancients as the faction for the boss strike. And their, of course, unique tier 10 unit was just a flying Dexter fragment. This is what it looked like. And my goodness, was it amazing. Not just in the factor of how well it was designed and how cool it was. It basically was just a fragment, but for flying. And it was the best trophy at the time. It was truly incredible to have and one of the best units in the game. Just perfect. And the boss strike itself, again, with, the Dr. Volga and the entire just element. It was one of the last times they tried for the later on boss strikes where they would just repeat the same thing over and over again. And yeah, it would have a pretty hard fall off, unfortunately. But that was certainly not this boss strike. This boss strike genuinely cared with its unique reward at tier 10 especially, its unique villain, and really kept and honored a Battle Nations original civilization. And yeah, that will just about do us for the Ancients. The only other thing I guess I could discuss right now, and there's nothing really to deconstruct here, but there is the Ancient Ruins. Of course, this is where you fight the Ancient Construction and Ancient Sentinel. And then there is the Ancient Laboratory. This is where Perkins and Precell went through here and just basically tore the place up. They wanted to find anything. They thought the door right there, this bad boy right here, this door, they thought it was like a whole ordeal, and it turned out, no, it was really just nothing. It was a gift shop, ironically enough. Straight up, literally just, trinkets and toys, nothing seriously within it. And yeah, that's pretty much all we know about the ancient civilization. There's a whole bunch of lore here that felt, very much planned and that they were adding on, because even the Ancient Sentinel was made in an update, which is pretty freaking cool when you think about it. At one point, he didn't exist. They just added him. And I felt we would have gotten so much of that, more out of Z2, if they had just had the chance to live and keep going on. But of course, wasn't meant to be. But hey, we're all back here in 2025. Try to keep the game alive, and I really think going forward, and I really hope going forward, I'm pretty confident we will, we'll be able to add more onto this. Basically continue the story of the Ancients, the Ancient Sentinel, the Ancient Construction, and figure out not only how they lived, but more stuff about them. Heck, I just want to see these guys. We've seen their garbage disposer. We've seen their security robot. We've seen some fragments, really just ruins, of their buildings. I want to see, like, what do these guys look like? Do they look like us humans? Do they look like aliens? That's my biggest question. I just want to see one of them. Let me know in the comments down below, what is your biggest question about these guys? What do you just wish you knew about the aliens? You could ask one thing from the Z2 team over a decade ago and get the definitive answer about these guys. What would it be? I'd love to know that from you. As for me, it would just be, what do these guys look like? And with all that being said, that will just about do it for us today, guys. If you watched this video all the way through, thank you very much for watching. I greatly appreciate you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider dropping a like down below and subscribing to the channel if you are new. Of course, please drop a comment down below telling me what you would like to know about the Ancients. And yeah, let me also know what you think of this new lore recap series revival. Again, just want to go through and like review some of these guys, review their wiki, review every last little bit of lore we do know about them, just trying to reconstruct the lore and hopefully finish it, because there's a lot of stuff as we'll go through and will become a trend throughout this series. So just a lot of stuff we don't know, and I hope we can get answers for a lot of it. And yeah, that's just about it. Again, thank you very much for watching, and as always, have a great rest of your day.